This is what Yubaba personally does to fight off unreasonable customers as a boss. This storyboard also says Dragon Ball. This is the scene where Kamehameha is fired at Kaonashi. This is the playful aspect of the work Spirited Away. There are quite a lot of gag scenes like this around Yubaba. Yubaba released a Kamehameha wave, but it had no effect on Kaonashi. It's a gag scene where Kaonashi pours mud on him. His whole body gets covered in mud. The audience doesn't laugh much when they see this. This work was made as a horror story, and Yubaba seems like a scary person. So there's not much that could be done to make it interesting. In addition, I will introduce tweets from Twitter. Fully equipped live-in environment. Uniforms and changes of clothes are provided. Meals are provided, and it is totally okay to take time off for a reason. When you start work, all you have to do is turn over the card. And there are no rules about how many minutes early they say they won't get scolded if they temporarily quit during work hours. According to the employees' regulations, they'll accept it. Depicted as a completely white company. Actually, Yubaba does not control everyone, but the relationship between her and everyone is a free contract. Yubaba has virtue and pride in how it should be. However, Yubaba also has its drawbacks. It's about loving someone too much. In fact, Yubaba has too much humanity and likes people too much. Yubaba can't let go of the ones he loves, like Bo. That giant baby thing is easy to understand. I can tell it's because Yubaba dotes on Bo. For example, Yubaba actually likes Haku and Chihiro quite a bit. She says some pretty nasty things in her lines, but that's because she likes it. For example, when Chihiro goes to see Zeniba towards the end, Chihiro says that she will meet Zeniba and apologize. When she finds out that Chihiro went to see Zeniba, she gets really angry. What do you say? Chihiro's parents turned into pigs. Eat it already. Yubaba gets angry. Basically because the love is too deep. What if the person you once liked leaves you? She's so unforgiving. At the same time, Haku. If he gets hurt, he's no longer useful. There's a reason why Yubaba likes Haku so much that he throws it away. Because it's helpful to her. Or because you did something nice for her. She really liked it. But that person has become useless. I would hate Yubaba extremely if he left me. From her perspective, it becomes extremely unnecessary. Yubaba is a woman with a strong sense of humanity. That face is really bad though. I guess everyone can't hate her. What were the frogs? And women working at the oil shop originally? No, they're all humans. And if they can't work at Yubaba, they'll turn into frogs or slugs. There are settings like that are contradictory. Actually, this setting is not officially unified. One thing I can say is that it uses frogs and snails. What about frogs and slugs? In the past, in Japan, they were combined into one name for taxonomic reasons. In ancient Japanese natural history, there is something called herbalism. In herbalism, humans and animals are divided into birds and fish. Humans are all living creatures other than animals. Birds and fish, but they are called insects. Snakes are also insects. That viper is actually a snake. Why are there snakes called pit vipers? In herbalism, snakes are also classified whether it's a lizard or a spider. In herbalism, all small animals other than insects are classified as insects. After all, Yubaba is a person who loves insects. She is a princess who loves insects. This is Nausicaa. In other words, Yubaba is the same as even though it's Nausicaa. They treat their colleagues as equals and respect the contract. And actually, Yubaba is the same as Eboshi. Yubaba is the tyrannical version of Eboshi from Princess Mononoke. Originally, people who looked like Nausicaa had to make their own rules and follow them while fighting with those around them. It was good as long as it was fair to everyone. It was good when she was young, but as she gets older, the passion that she suppressed when she was young went out of control and became a tyrant. That's how she became a tyrant. Also, Eboshi Gozen is actually Yubaba. Yubaba was probably a little younger. I think she had better judgment and was a kind person. Someone she fell in love with. She becomes obsessed with the treasure she has come to love and loses her humanity, and is hated and feared by those around her. This is Granny Dora's future appearance, and at the same time, what is this? Perhaps this figure is Toshio Suzuki for Hayao Miyazaki. Maybe it's Hayao Miyazaki himself. I don't know. Both of them thoroughly favor the person they like. He is famous for treating people who leave him very coldly. And 14 riddles to decipher Spirited Away. I will explain the mysteries regarding Yubaba. When Hayao Miyazaki depicts heroines, he writes them as really good girls, like Sita, when they are young. The heroine becomes like Nausicaa and begins to have a passion inside of her, and like Eboshi, she becomes a fine leader who stands above others. After that, Miyazaki's heroine becomes Dora, a person who prioritizes her own desires, and ends up becoming Yubaba, a character who no longer understands her own desires and love for others and goes out of control. This is one cycle of Hayao Miyazaki's heroine images. When we watch movies, we are always stuck with the heroine at a young age. And Sita will always remain Sita. We think that Clarice will always be Clarice. Hayao Miyazaki believes that his characters are always growing properly. That's why I often say that Satsuki and Mei from My Neighbor Totoro are already older women in their 30s in Hayao Miyazaki's mind. I think it's interesting how the characters evolve in this way. Yubaba has a strong sense of justice. She is very caring and keeps her promises. But instead, she ends up liking and relying on the people around her and ends up not trusting them. She is afraid of being alone and becomes more and more tyrannical. I think this is Hayao Miyazaki's theory of evolution for the heroine. This is a question from Mikan. Why does Kamaji say, in the past, there should have been a return Tron? I wondered if there was some deep meaning behind it. But I don't know. If you don't mind, could you tell me about it when you do the Ghibli episode in Japanese mythology? I would like to answer with a few special points. The world after death was connected to the world of living things. You could visit your dead ancestors by performing certain rituals. But something happened and there is a slope that connects the world after death with the world of the living. There is an incident in Japanese mythology in which an unopened seal was lowered on that slope. Kamaji is a living witness of that era. And in fact, Kamaji's true identity is the main character of a fairy tale. He knows very well the horror of returning from the land of the dead. So in the past, as a Kamaji experience, I was able to come back home. He is a person who went to the underworld and returned in the afterlife. In other words, he is the main character of a fairy tale, so he knew that was the case. But we are no longer in that era. The reason is that the slope between and the world of the living has been closed and sealed forever. Were you satisfied with this, Mikan-san? Thank you for watching Toshio Okada's YouTube. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel.